On today's Tune In and Tune Up, we're going to fine tune some details, especially when it has to do with health and lifestyle. They go hand in hand. Here with us today, we've got our naturopath doctor, Dr. Rhonda Charles, who is in with us to talk about health and lifestyle. Rhonda, good to have you.
Why, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me here.
And you are no stranger to the CBC family.
Oh, none at all. I do enjoy my time on 100.7 with you.
Excellent. Now, when we look at being a naturopath or a naturopathic doctor, what are we really looking at?
Well, first I will explain a little bit what a naturopath or a naturopathic doctor is. And what we do is, whatever you would go to a general practitioner for, you can come to us for. And what we will look to do is identify the root cause of the issues. As opposed to just dealing with the symptom, we do the root cause. So I find that a lot of people do come to me for various ailments, and not just physical, but emotional as well. Because as a naturopath, we have to balance all of the bodies, not just the physical body. We have to, yes.
Why is this? Why do we have to balance the physical with the emotional? Do they really go hand in hand?
Well, the physical body is technically the last manifestation generally of major issues, unless you have a trauma. Okay. So they have to balance your mental body, your spiritual body, your energetic body, your emotional body, in order for this physical body to maintain full balance. So as a naturopath, I address every aspect of you as a being, not just one physical aspect. So what I find is that, I get a lot of people who will come to me for physical issues, and you will find that they tend to come at various points in their healing, or various points, like if they've started a healing path and they're trying to really get a handle on it, or they have exhausted options sometimes.
I was about to ask, because I find that oftentimes we take the route of the naturopathic doctor after we've tried everything clinical under the sun, and you go like, well, I got to lose.
And that is exactly it. And I've had situations where people have gone and spent thousands. One instance comes to mind where they've gone and spent thousands of dollars at various doctors and dealing with various tests, and in one visit they got to the root of the issue, and they were like, are you serious? This is what it was, so simple. Because sometimes the root of a lot of the issues are so simple, they're missed. And you are correct, where you find that lots of people will come to me after they've exhausted, or seemingly have exhausted, all other options. But also I find that right now a lot of people are taking the natural route, because they're seeing around them that a lot of things aren't working the way that they thought they would, or they were told that they would. So understanding that a natural path is actually working for many people, and that's where the world is going down, being more cognizant of what is natural, even in terms of looking at what is happening in the world and nature. So a lot of people are then looking to take a more natural approach to their health.
Let's look at what we put into our bodies, because our health really is derived by what we eat. Why is this so important?
When you're talking about what we eat, it's a simple thing. You know, there's that saying, you are what you eat. I take it a step further. You are what you assimilate, because you can eat many things. However, if your digestive system is not working properly, you cannot absorb the requisite nutrients, etc., from what you've just eaten. So you are what you assimilate. You are what you put into your body, but you are also then, after that, what you assimilate. And that means that we're the sum total of what goes into our bodies through diet, through where we put our bodies, the environment, because you have to remember your skin is your biggest organ. So where you put your body can also affect your health. So that is still something that's going into your body. Emotions affect your health. So that's another thing that's going into your body. And so you have an emotional diet as well too. You have a mental diet as well too. What you think. So your diet is not just it's not just limited to foods. It's also limited to. It's also expanded to include the other 5 diets for the other, well, all 5 diets that make up the body as a whole.
Wow. So, having said that, what are some of the more common issues that present to you when patients say, well, I really don't know what to do now?
Majorly digestive issues. You find that there's a lot of digestive issues that would be presented. And along with these are the NCDs, the hypertension, the diabetes, the high cholesterol. These are some of the things that mostly I find are presented. Digestive issues and the NCDs.
Digestive issues and NCDs. Again, I feel as if we're pointing back towards diet.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, how do we start to turn back the clock, or can we, when it comes to these issues that can plague our health? Digestive issues surrounding chronic non-communicable diseases. How do we backtrack on that?
Well, first, as you were saying, we seem to be going down a certain path in terms of digestion. And you will have seen, if you follow a lot of the studies, a lot of the research done, you'll find that the root of these major NCDs and other issues originate in the gut, gut health. Even something, let's say, like scoliosis.
Now, you need to break that down for sisters.
No, scoliosis. Scoliosis, the curvature of
the spine?
Of the spine.
Okay.
Even that has been found to have a genesis in gut health.
Really?
Yes. So you would never think to associate scoliosis, someone's curved spine, with their gut health. But studies have found that from childhood, that once there is an imbalance of certain hormones, chemicals in the gut, you're going to have an issue. Like serotonin, that happy feel good, you think it's in the brain. Basically, most of the serotonin is manufactured in your gut. So once you realize that the gut health is most important, as long as you're faced with anything, any issue whatsoever, no matter what it is, you have to ensure that your gut health, your digestive health is at its optimum. You have to ensure that that is where we focus on. So therefore, if we're focusing on that, we have to focus on your diet. You have to focus on what goes in. So that is why diet is so important for NCDs and any other issue that you may be facing.
Are any of these NCDs reversible? And I keep trying to stress on the rewind, because I want us to give people a bit of hope. A lot of the times you get a diagnosis and you hear that you are hypertensive, and you go home and you're already panicking about how to bring the blood pressure down, which, by the way, shoots it even further up.
Correct.
You get a diagnosis of being diabetic, and you feel as if you've now been banished from having anything that you like to eat, or drink for that matter. Are any of these diseases reversible? And if not, how can we bring them to the level of control that we feel as if we've got our lives back?
The thing about it is that anything that you're faced with can be eliminated or brought into balance. You can call it reverse, go into remission, anything. Because the body has an innate ability to heal itself. And that is why I tend to say, but you have to put it in the right frame of body to do so.
I was just about to ask, because if it's going to heal if my body is going to heal itself, why are you going to take all this medication?
Because again, you have to ensure then that the body has the correct nutrients to heal itself, the correct mindset to heal itself, the correct spiritual diet to heal itself, the correct emotions that are created to ensure that it heals itself, and then your physical aspect in terms of your lifestyle.
Okay.
So all of these things have to be in balance because the body naturally can. We're vibrational beings. And once you vibrate at the correct frequencies, you can heal yourself.
Okay.
Anything can be healed as long as you bring yourself, see all that balance, as long as all that balance is achieved. The difficulty is that it can be difficult. And some people think that they have no choice. But for example, diabetes can be put into remission, but you have to remember it depends on how far gone you are.
Okay.
But once you've caught yourself at a specific space, it is possible. For example, you go to the example you use, you go to the doctor and the doctor says you have hypertension. Then you're going to be put on medication. For me, first thing I'm going to ask, what has been going on in your life?
Okay.
What during this period here where you're finding that your blood pressure has become elevated, what has been happening? Were you stressed with school? Were you stressed with a relationship? Were you taking care of a dying mother? These are things that when I look back and you look at the time that this person has first been diagnosed with this issue, there's always some sort of stressor that's been happening at that moment. So if at that point in time you deal with the stressor at that point in time before you even look to get into medication, then you will realize that blood pressure can go down.
Wow.
However, there are some people who that may not apply to because it could be at that point in time something very physical.
Okay.
As I said, each person has to be seen on an individual basis, so it's not broad-based. So yes, it is possible to reverse or put in remission or to eliminate even many of these NCDs.
Let's talk about some of the practices that we carry on. We have breakfast, which some people argue is the most important meal of the day. There are others who might say that that's a marketing position, starting with Kellogg's. But but is it really the most important meal of the day?
Breakfast?
Yes.
Well, you see, that is a bit of semantics.
Really? Did you have breakfast?
No, I'm just saying. Because if somebody who goes to work and they work night shift,
Okay.
and then there's somebody who, there's somebody who works from 3 in the morning to say 1 o'clock, and they've been at work and they've not had anything to eat, and they go to sleep and they wake up. When they wake up, they're breaking their fast. Remember, that's what breakfast is. You're breaking the fast that you were on whilst you were asleep for those requisite 6-8 hours that you're supposed to have. But you're breaking that fast because you have been fasting for that period. So breakfast can mean different things to different people.
Okay.
Because that could be, by the time they're awake, it's lunchtime or dinner time.
To me, breakfast is the first thing I get once I wake up. So if I wake up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, by 2 o'clock I having rice and peas.
Exactly my point. So breakfast then it's a moving thing. However, what I'll say is what you put into your body when you first awake from that sleep cycle is what's important.
Okay.
And unfortunately, and let's just use the normal time frame where you sleep from say 10 to 6 o'clock in the morning. So when you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you are then, your body is now getting ready for the day. And we tend to want to put something big and heavy in there because that's what we have been told or seen around. And your body is now really trying to get going. Your blood pressure generally is at its highest because that's when wakes you up. So your body has to get ready for waking up. So then now your digestive system is now, everything's now coming awake, and here you are going to put this big heavy meal in because you're saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But you should let your body gently wake up.
Okay.
And then you can have an hour later or so, you can then have your meal. And at that stage, and that's when you look at it, the big heavy breakfast with the pancakes and all that has been a very much so I'm gonna separate them. Western, I'm not gonna call any specific Western diet. But when you look at what is going on in the Western world with all these NCDs,
you start to wonder, should I have the pancake and eggs and the side of bacon extra?
But then when you look at the Eastern, and you look at when you go to breakfast, and it's continental breakfast, what is it? Lots of cereal and fruit. And we look at that like, no. However, look at the instances of NCDs in those countries.
I will have you know, Dr. Charles, that the average Bajan looks at both the continental and the Western breakfast, and they put it together to make up all a breakfast. That's Caribbean.
Exactly. However, that is one of the reasons, again, that we are seeing all these NCDs. Because if you make it light in the morning or whenever you wake up and get your body into to balance and just easily guide it into food, you're not going to get a lot of the issues that you get and a lot of the blood sugar spikes, etc., because you're putting a lot of carbs especially in and not the good ones.
There are some that will argue in their defense, I'm not defending anybody, that they have a very labor intensive job. So they're outside all day, they work in construction, or they work on the road, or they work inside, but it's still a very labor intensive job. Would you want to guide them lightly into having something to start their day still, or should they power up with something heavy?
And again, that I understand that fully, and it's about individuals. So I have some people who have to wake up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they have to be out, and because they're driving a truck, etc. Still, when you get up, a glass of water first thing, that can help to get everything going. You can put your lemon in there, a little bit of cinnamon, anything like that. Depending on what the issue is, I would recommend different things based on what you're dealing with to put in that water. And once you do that, and you especially get the liver woken up, because the liver was working from like 12 to 3, and get that liver working again, you can then have that meal that you may have, because you know you're going to burn it off. But I'm not talking about somebody who is going to be sitting at their desk immediately after breakfast and having a big heavy meal. So again, it is about on an individual basis, but generally, on a general basis, a lighter breakfast is always recommended. But if you know for a fact that you are out there and you're working and you're going to work that off, I can understand that. I can understand the rice and peas for breakfast.
I will admit, there was a time in my life when the first meal on Monday for me was rice and peas, because I always liked the YMCA, Yesterday's Meal Come Alive. And because I'm going to be working long hours on a Monday, I probably want to get home to have the Sunday meal on the Monday evening. I'll get home when it's in the dead of night. So I have it on the Monday morning. But I've changed my ways. Having said that, let's flip the script. Let's go from filling up to fasting. This has become a trend. It seems to be something that has caught on across the nations, intermittent fasting. What are your thoughts on that? And who do you think should do it?
Again, individual basis, because not everybody can fast intermittently. However, and especially if you have certain issues, it wouldn't be recommended. But calorie deficit, that's basically what's happening for a lot of people. And when you look at a lot of Eastern thought processes, fasting has always been there.
Yes.
Always been periods of fasting so now it's westernized, so now it's all something new and new agey, and this is the in thing, like numerous other things that we can talk about that were the in thing, you know. However, intermittent fasting has its place, but you have to look at it from an individual point of view. And there's some, like I had someone who came to me the other day, intermittent fasting and not losing weight, and she said, but I don't understand what's going on. You're intermittent fasting, but then when you're not fasting, what are you eating? You were very, very hungry, so now you're going to eat all this stuff.
No.
You
So you're kind of canceling out the whole.
So you have this one meal, and your body goes into starvation mode because it's okay. Well, this person here is starving me, so let me hold on to every bit of food. Let me put it and save it. And what does it save it as? Fat. Because in that one meal, you've eaten so much that you have a calorie surplus. So what's your body going to do with it? Store it as fat.
Wow.
So you have to be well informed if you're going to be intermittent fasting. You have to ensure that when you do eat, you eat enough. And so nutrient dense foods. So as opposed to lots of carbohydrates. So that is very important then, as long as you're going to be fasting for any length of time, to ensure that your diet, and not just your physical diet, because the other aspect and component of fasting can be spiritual and emotional, and a lot of things can come up during these periods of fasting, and you not even realize, why am I so emotional? Why am I having these almost psychological issues? Because fasting can bring them up.
Is it that it brings it up or it brings it out?
Brings it out.
Okay.
Up through the, if you're looking at the what you call chakras, etc., but brings it to the forefront, right? So you have to be very careful when you're doing certain practices to understand the deeper connotations of such.
Okay. Dr. Charles, I think that we need to take another opportunity to sit down and work on lifestyle, because one of the things that we're not reining in is the ability to adapt our lifestyle and our diet to suit the way we live or where we live and what we do. And I think we'd have to have another session with you just to home in on that.
Oh, that is absolutely no problem. I am here to share knowledge. That is one of my purposes in life, to share the knowledge that I've gained to assist other people. So whenever you're ready, I'm always here.
Excellent to have you.